The Galactic Union Council chamber on Virex 9 was quiet, too quiet. The ceiling stretched high above, filled with stars projected from a transparent dome. Alien delegates from across the galaxy sat in curved rows of seats, arranged like a half-moon. The air was cold and clean, filtered by machines. No one spoke, but every eye was on one man. Draven Male stood alone at the center. He wore a simple black uniform, the emblem of Earth glowing softly on his chest. His face was calm, but his dark eyes were sharp, watching everyone around him. Archon Velix, tall and insect-like, rose from his seat at the head of the chamber. His voice was smooth, too smooth. "The motion has been presented," he said, his many eyes scanning the room. "Human influence has grown unstable, emotional, dangerous. It is time we correct the course." He paused, letting his words sink in. "We propose to remove humanity from all strategic roles within the Union, military command, research access, and voting power. They may remain as observers." The chamber buzzed with quiet agreement. Some nodded. Others looked unsure, but no one spoke in defense. Draven stepped forward. "You speak of correction," he said, his voice steady. "But what you really want is control." A few heads turned. He continued, "For 200 years, humanity has served the Union. We brought innovation, strategy, and courage. We helped defend your borders when others would not. And now you wish to silence us." Velix tilted his head. "You are too unpredictable. Your kind acts on emotion, not logic." Draven's tone didn't change. "Emotion is not weakness. It is strength. We fight for what we believe in. But if this is your decision, we will not stay where we are not wanted." Velix gave a cold smile. "This is not exile, Ambassador. You may remain as guests." Draven looked around the room. So many species, so many faces. Not one stood beside him. He nodded slowly. "Then Earth will leave the Union." A wave of whispers moved through the chamber. Someone tried to speak, but Draven raised a hand. "We do not threaten. We do not beg. But understand this, when humans walk away, we take everything we brought with us." He turned, walking back toward the exit. No one stopped him. At the door, he paused for one last moment. He looked back, his voice low but clear. "You've made your choice. So will we." Then he was gone. The chamber remained silent. Archon Velix sat down, still wearing his thin smile. "The motion passes," he said. "Let us move on." But something in the air had changed. Something cold. Draven Male sat in silence aboard his ship, the Soulless Edge. The lights were dim, the hum of the engine soft in the background. Outside the wide front window, the stars stretched into infinity. Virex 9 grew smaller behind them, fading into the black. He didn't look back. The message had already been sent. Earth had officially withdrawn from the Galactic Union. No debates, no final meetings, no more discussions. On screens across the galaxy, the announcement played. Effective immediately, humanity ends all ties with the Galactic Union. All human personnel, technology, and resources will be recalled. Earth and its colonies now stand independent. The words were clear, cold, final. In a human military outpost on the edge of Union space, officers packed up equipment. Ships rose from landing pads in silent formation and disappeared into hyperspace. In Union labs, doors shut behind the last human scientists. Advanced tools blinked offline as security protocols kicked in. And on dozens of planets, ordinary citizens watched as human embassies closed their doors and vanished. Earth had left, just like that. In the council chambers, Archon Velix watched the footage with narrowed eyes. "They'll return," he said, almost to himself. "They can't survive without us." His advisors were silent. One finally spoke. "Sir, we've already lost connection to the human AI cores embedded in our systems. They locked us out the moment the announcement went live." Velix waved his hand. They'll come crawling back when they see how cold the galaxy is alone. But beneath his confident words, a flicker of concern began to form. Back aboard the Soulless Edge, Draven watched his screen quietly. It showed the Union's star map, slowly updating. One by one, the blue marks representing human presence faded. Earth, Luma Base, Mars Command, all now marked in gray, no longer Union territory. Draven's aide, a young officer named Kellen, stepped into the room. "It's done," he said. "All units have pulled out. Every system they depended on us for is shutting down." Draven gave a slow nod. "They think we're bluffing." "They'll find out," Kellen said. "Yes," Draven replied. "But by then, it will be too late." He stood, hands behind his back, staring into space. The stars ahead looked the same, but everything had changed. Earth would no longer wait to be respected. They would build their future, without permission, without compromise. It started small. A missed signal here, a delayed message there. 3 days after humanity's exit, a cargo freighter from the planet Corsa 7 reported a strange navigation error. The ship veered off course and almost collided with a Union patrol cruiser. The freighter's pilot swore the star charts had changed. The patrol crew blamed pilot error. The freighter's AI disagreed. The next day, a major communication hub on Telrix 4 went dark. It served as the primary relay for 3 sectors. Engineers found nothing physically wrong. The systems simply stopped responding. Then came the failures in the defense networks. At the Union's northern border, automated satellites lost targeting functions. Security drones shut down mid-flight. A Union officer tapped the console, confused. Every alert returned the same message. System incompatible. Access denied. Inside the Galactic Union Council chamber, murmurs began to grow louder. Councillor Reen, a reptilian delegate from Sector 14, stood during a closed meeting. "We relied too heavily on their technology," he said. "The humans built our communication backbone, our border defenses, our predictive AI systems, and now those systems are failing." Archin-Velix sat tall, hands clasped. "They were partners, not owners. We have backup protocols." Rain shook his head. "Not for human-coded infrastructure. They designed their systems to be secure. Only they had full access." Velix's voice turned sharp. "Are you saying they've sabotaged us?" "No," Reen replied. "I'm saying we never truly understood what we were using." Across the galaxy, civilian life grew tense. On Delenn Prime, a peaceful trade hub, shipping schedules fell apart. The traffic control grid crashed, and dozens of cargo haulers drifted aimlessly above the city. On Xoros 2, a university lost its entire database overnight. It had been running on a human-engineered quantum system. Backup files were encrypted, locked behind Earth's now-absent access keys. Union citizens started asking questions. What else had humans built? What else might break? Back aboard the Soulless Edge, Draven watched a silent feed of Union news updates. Systems offline. Delays. Rising frustration. His aide Kellen walked in, holding a report. Another 10 systems down. 2 border worlds pulled their fleets inward. Draven nodded, not surprised. "They thought we were just another piece of the machine." "They're starting to realize," Kellen said. Draven spoke quietly. "We didn't walk away to punish them. We walked because we were never equals. Now they see what they truly lost." He stood and faced the star map once more. The Union was cracking, not from war, but from absence. The council chamber was no longer quiet. Voices echoed off the high walls, sharp and panicked. Councilors shouted over each other. Screens around the room flickered with alerts, red warnings flashing nonstop. "Another system has collapsed." Councilor Threx cried out. "Planet-side communications are down. The orbital grid is unresponsive." "We can't access the navigation system in Sector 9, said another. "Our ships are flying blind." Archin-Velix slammed a hand against the table. "Enough." The chamber went still. We are the Galactic Union, Velix said. We do not fall apart over technical problems. This is temporary. We will recover. Counselor Reen stood again. His expression was tight. These are not just technical problems. These are foundations, human foundations. They built much of our core systems. They maintained them. And now, they are gone. Velix's voice turned cold. You're suggesting we ask them to return. I'm suggesting we made a mistake. Velix's eyes narrowed. They left. Let them stay gone. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, life was falling apart. At a mining colony on Varlan 3, atmospheric stabilizers powered by human-made AI began to fail. Dust storms raged across the surface. Emergency beacons went unanswered. On the trade planet Vesia, financial markets crashed when the main banking algorithms froze. The system had been developed by Terran engineers. Now, it was silent. In the outer colonies, pirate groups moved quickly. Union patrols were offline. Borders were unguarded. Worlds long protected by human-led fleets now stood vulnerable. Back on Virex 9, panic turned to fear. Counselor Dren, usually quiet, leaned forward. We underestimated them. We thought they were emotional, wild. But their systems were elegant, fast, and deeply connected. They never bragged. They just built. Velix's hands curled into fists. This is political. They are doing this on purpose. No, Dren said. They just took what was theirs. A younger counselor pulled up a report. I've received word from the Xilari Confederation. They say they'd made contact with Earth. Quiet contact. The humans have formed something new. Velix turned sharply. What do you mean? The screen showed a message, brief and chilling. The Terran Accord is not part of the Union. We build for ourselves now. The room fell silent. For the first time, Velix looked uncertain. The cracks in his voice betrayed his thoughts. They were serious, he whispered. On the soulless edge, Draven sat in calm silence. News of the Union's failures played quietly on a nearby screen. They're trying to hold it together, Kellen said, watching the feed. But it's slipping. Draven nodded once. They'd never listened. Now they're learning. Without us, their strength was only borrowed. He turned off the screen. There's no joy in this, he said quietly. Only truth. The stars above Yelvanar Station blinked quietly, but the council below was in chaos. More systems were failing. Entire sectors had gone silent. Colonies weren't responding. Ships were lost in transit. Trade had slowed to a crawl. Every day, more worlds cut contact or closed their borders. Archon Velix stood in his private chambers, staring at a long list of failures on the screen in front of him. Every red mark on the map was a system affected by human withdrawal. There were too many to count. A soft knock. His assistant entered, hesitant. There's something you need to see, she said, handing over a secured datapad. Velix scanned the message. His eyes widened. The Terran Accord, he read aloud. Yes, she said. That's what they're calling it. It's real. Formed quietly. Fast. They have military power, science divisions, deep trade connections, and new allies. Who? He demanded. Several former Union member worlds, smaller ones. They've chosen to join the humans. Velix dropped the datapad on his desk. Why? They said Earth treats them like equals, she replied. Not tools. On the far edge of known space, at a newly built orbital station, the Terran Accord held its first full assembly. Draven Mail stood at the center of a bright open chamber. It was smaller than the Union's council room, but warmer. Sunlight from a nearby star filled the space. Representatives from multiple worlds sat in round seats, not high chairs. No one looked down on anyone else. Auxiliary ambassadors stood and bowed slightly. We were slow to see the truth, Ambassador Mail. But we see it now. The Union built walls. You build bridges. Draven nodded. All we ever asked for was respect. When it was denied, we walked away." He looked around the room. "We're not here to rebuild the Union. We're here to build something better, cleaner, stronger, shared." The room erupted in calm applause, not out of fear, but hope. Back on Virex 9, the council was desperate. A final vote passed. One last message would be sent to Earth, directly. It was written carefully, every word chosen to show humility. To Earth, Office of Ambassador Draven Mail. From Galactic Union Council. Message: we acknowledge our mistake. We request renewed talks. We need your guidance. We are ready to listen. The message was sent, and for 2 full days, nothing came back. Inside the soulless edge, the message sat unopened. Draven looked at it once, then turned away. "They finally heard us," Kellen said quietly. Draven shook his head. They heard themselves echoing in the silence. Outside the window, ships of the Terran Accord moved in graceful formation. No sound, no speeches, just progress. Draven spoke, voice low but firm. "We warned them. We walked away. And now, we move forward." The new Terran Accord station orbited a calm blue planet. From above, Earth looked peaceful, strong, independent. Inside the station, Draven Mail stood by a wide observation window. Ships moved silently outside, sleek, efficient, fully human-designed. No Union markings, no borrowed tech. Everything was their own. Behind him, the room was quiet except for the soft hum of machinery. His aide, Kellen, entered and placed a report on the desk. "It's official," Kellen said. 3 more worlds joined the Accord this morning. They're sending ambassadors. Our network grows every day." Draven nodded, still watching the stars. "They were once afraid to leave the Union. Now they're afraid to stay," Kellen replied. Draven turned from the window and picked up the datapad. One alert flashed quietly at the top. Message: Final contact. Galactic Union Council. He opened it. The message was short. "We were wrong. We see it now. Please return. We need you." Draven read it once, then again. He said nothing. Kellen watched him closely. "Will you respond?" Draven placed the datapad down. "No." Kellen looked surprised. Not even to say no. "They already know the answer," Draven said. "We warned them. We didn't leave to prove a point. We left because they never saw our worth, until we were gone." He walked slowly to the edge of the room, where a new flag hung, a simple silver star above a black arc, Earth's new symbol, one of strength and unity. "Everything we built, we gave freely," Draven continued. "They treated it like a tool, something they could own. Now, they're learning the truth." Kellen stepped beside him. "So, what now?" Draven looked out toward the growing fleet of Terran Accord ships, all moving with quiet purpose. "Now we build," he said. "Not for them. For us. For everyone who was silenced, pushed aside. We don't need their seat anymore." He paused. "We've built our own table." Outside, the Terran Accord spread, steady, unshaken. A new force in the galaxy, not through conquest, but through clarity, precision, and quiet power. No more waiting for respect. No more second chances. Earth had walked away, and the galaxy would never be the same.